Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Grapevine Movie Reviews. I'm Matt.
I'm Yash.
I'm Mariana.
I'm Michael.
And Drew.
And we're back again to do a little bit of reviewing some movies. Now, if you haven't been with us before, the main gist of this podcast is that we only score movies that we haven't seen, which means that a group of us will go see a movie, everybody usually except for one, and we'll talk about that movie, and the person who hasn't seen it is the one that gives it the score at the end of the review. Now, this week we're trying something a little bit different because it's the end of the summer, end of August. There are a bunch of releases that came out. None of them were really huge, not big enough to warrant their own singular movie reviews. But we decided, let's all come together, talk about the movies that we each got to see. We're each going to throw something forward, something that we liked. And we're going to have a little bit of discussion. And for each of the movies, there are at least one of us, some of them multiple people that haven't seen the specific movie. And at the end of each one, we can just give a quick, do you want to go see it? Are you interested in that movie? And we're gonna try out this new format to see how it goes. We're going to try to do a bunch of movies in one sitting. So, I guess I'm going to start. I'm going to throw out the movie that I watched near the end of August here that I really enjoyed. And that's Wind River.
I need emergency assistance.
What's your location?
The Wind River Indian Reservation.
I'm Jane Banner, FBI.
Welcome to Wyoming. You by yourself?
It's just me.
That's Corey Lambert. He's the one who found the body.
It's a drama starring Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen. Sorry?
Crime thriller.
Oh,
That's what the introduction was for.
yeah. So it's a drama. It's a crime thriller starring Jeremy Renner, Elizabeth Olsen. They are living
As
in
the Avengers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Reprising their roles as the Scarlet Witch and Hawkeye. No,
Technically, he was Hawkeye,
He was similar.
but
Yeah.
with bullets.
So yeah, Jeremy Renner's character he's a hunter that lives in, I believe they're in Wyoming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a hunter in Wyoming. They bring him in
North.
whenever that they're basically a bunch of farms and stuff in the area. And whenever there is wildlife that's attacking the livestock on the farms, they hire him and he comes and takes care of it. So basically if there's wolves stalking their sheep or something, he can go and, track down the wolves, take them out with his sniper rifle. And he gets called in to do a job where there's a mountain lion in the area that took out one of the cows for his ex-wife's parents. So his ex-father and mother-in-law. And he gets called in to go find out where these mountain lions are and take care of it. In his tracking of the mountain lions' tracks and trying to figure out where their den is so he can take care of the problem, he happens across this body of a girl from the neighborhood, a Native American girl. And he has to call in. He calls it in. They basically call in the FBI, and the rest of the movie is basically just
It's
him,
the investigation
the
of the
FBI
murder,
doing
essentially.
the investigation of the murder, trying to
in
find out how
this
her body got out
harsh
there.
area to live.
Yeah, so it's very hard. Yeah, as Michael said, it's a very harsh area to live. It's very snowy. There's a storm going on during the movie. In fact, it comes in and flow. Yeah, there will be points where it's not snowing really hard, and then other points where it's a blizzard. And it's just basically them trying to figure out what happened to this girl. How'd she get out there in the middle of the wilderness, frozen to death with no shoes? And I honestly, this was one of the best movies I think I saw the entire summer.
Absolutely.
It was very well made.
Yeah.
Why
is that?
Okay, well, first of all, the acting is amazing. I thought everybody played their role really well. There were a couple great scenes, all the scenes between Jeremy Renner and the father of the girl he found were great. They were very powerful.
Yeah, that was my favorite as well.
Yeah, all the scenes that they had,
Fantastic.
the scenes that those two had together,
Yeah.
they had a great rapport. The acting was spectacular, and I was riveted by the mystery. To be honest with you, at a certain point, I think I figured it out. And even when you figure it out, there's a lot of tension in every scene.
It doesn't overstay.
Yeah.
When you start figuring it out, that's when it starts wrapping, and you're like, okay, this is.
And then even when it starts wrapping, when they start showing you this is what happened and this is what's going to happen now because of what happened, it's very tense and it's exhilarating.
Yeah.
It gets you my heart rate was.
It's one of these movies. No one's precious, so you don't know what's going to happen to any of them out here. So I think that really helps as well.
Yeah. So, do you have any thoughts, Mariana?
Well, I think the most I guess the most shocking part of this movie was because this takes place on a Native American reserve.
Yes.
And so it's not even the FBI investigating this. Like, they didn't even want to take the time to send people out. They sent one person out who's played by Elizabeth Olsen. And it's basically these cops who don't really investigate that much because they don't have much work. And so in fact,
there's like only 6 cops that work the entire area.
Yeah,
like they have like 6 cops that are manned an area that should be manned by like at least like a couple.
Well, that's what happens on these native reserves.
Yeah,
yeah, and that's what the movie really is about.
Right.
Like just at the end of the movie, it ends with a few facts, like how there's no. I think there's
they
no
don't keep
missing
statistics. Yeah,
they don't keep statistics, and they don't send out official missing persons reports for Native Americans.
American women, it's specified.
Yeah.
Women. Oh, okay. And it's just like harrowing, where you even see that in the movie, how like unequipped they are and ill prepared, and it's like I thought it was great in that aspect too, just because it was a kind of it was a bit different than regular crime thrillers, because it also the area that they're in is also integral to the plot, and it gave you a different feel. But also, most specifically, what I wanted to talk about was the writing, just because it is written by Taylor Kennedy.
I believe that's his name. Yeah,
and directed.
It's the first time director.
Yeah, first time director, and he wrote Sicario and Hell or High Water, which is like excellently written movies.
Fun fact: he was also he played a cop for a few seasons on Sons of Anarchy.
Yes. Which cop?
I can't remember the cop's name, but he was on that show for a few seasons. Yeah,
I love that show.
Also, I mean, I haven't seen the movie, unfortunately.
Yes, Andy is the one that didn't get to see.
From what I've heard about it, it comes at a perfect time when in society right now we are all looking at each other, trying to understand and try to better associate with other people that are not like us, and to sit back and we are always looking in our general vicinity, which a lot of times doesn't include the Native American population, and this brings light to them being there, and that we should worry about them as well. So that's what I was hearing on some of the reviews.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, it really is. It's this movie, it's about just loss and how painful it is, and I think it got that across better than most movies I've seen that handle that. Like losing a child, I think this movie nailed that feeling, and it was painful.
For multiple characters.
Oh, yeah.
It's not really a big spoiler because they kind of reveal it earlier in the movie. Jeremy Renner, his connection to it is that he lost a daughter, say 3 years ago in the movie. They say it was 3 years ago in a similar circumstance.
That's that common ground for his discussions with the father of this missing.
Yeah, he lost a daughter in a similar circumstance. That's why he's so connected to it and trying to figure out what's happening. And I also like how they wrote the FBI agent character for Elizabeth Olsen. Like, she just wants to do the right thing and do good, even though she's not very experienced, and she doesn't have the manpower behind her that
she's only there because she was the closest. Yeah.
But now that she's there, she wants to know. Yeah. Like she wants to figure out the case. She cares.
She tries to adapt to that harsh environment. Most people would just say, "Okay, FBI totally doesn't care if I'm here. I cared. I tried."
And that's really interesting. Like the whole movie's from her perspective, and it's and you mentioned this already, but this movie's so tense and tonally. I love this movie. I don't know how I could talk about this one scene without kind of spoiling it, but I'm just gonna do it.
Sure.
It's a scene that kicks off with a snowmobile type of like Russian time kind of race. It's not really a race, but these groups of people are trying to get somewhere, and they're I don't really know how to describe this, but it's like really intense music coupled with guys with snowmobiles trying to rush somewhere, and I don't know, that scene kicks off something that's just totally
I think
crazy.
In general, the music in this movie, it really affected me.
It does.
It was almost like a horror movie at times, where it was building that tension with the music, and I thought that was incredible.
I honestly, even scenes where you know what's going to happen, it's still super tense.
Yeah.
Like when they finally show you, they kind of do a flashback where they show you what happened to the girl that they find. And when they show you how everything played out and how she ended up there, it was like my heart was
Yeah.
racing. I was like, damn.
Because
Like,
you already knew.
yeah,
like,
you knew, like,
at the
obviously-
beginning, she's the dead body.
Yeah, like, you know she dies,
But-
but like, when you're waiting for it to happen, you're like, oh my god, this is not good.
Yeah.
It's a really, and like, it's just really well composed, everything, like, from the music to the visuals to the acting to the story that they're telling, and like the message that it's trying to get across. I think everything works in perfect harmony. It's a movie that when I walked out, I'm like, I'm so glad that I watched this after kind of an August where I saw a bunch of movies that I just were kind of subpar, not exactly what I was hoping for. This was way better than I even expected it to be, and I thought it was going to be pretty damn good. So I don't know what you thought.
Yeah, everything you said. It's a good movie.
I just wanted to talk about Jeremy Renner for a second
Sure.
because a lot of people don't like him or just associate him with Hawkeye. I think he's okay, but in this movie, he disappeared in his role. Like at first, I'm like, oh, that's Jeremy Renner, and it kind of took me out. But like as soon as you get into the movie, like you forget about it, and just like the more you learn about how he feels about his dead daughter, and like
How he copes with it. And
how he copes with it, and how he's starting to help the father of the daughter who's been killed. Or, it's just... I thought he was great in this movie, and I also liked his relationship with Elizabeth Olsen.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I thought he had a lot of great... He had so many good scenes in this movie, to be honest with you.
No, he
all the
was
scenes with
given
Elizabeth
something to
Olsen,
work with,
the stuff
and
with
he
his
proved that
son,
he can
the stuff
do
with the
that.
young son that he had, and the stuff with the ex-wife, and like even small scenes with him and other... Like he sells it, everything that he's doing in this movie. His cadence and the way that he speaks and everything.
He acts like a hunter.
Yeah, he was right in it. He was really good, yeah. I don't know your thoughts.
I think we've said everything we need to say about it.
Yeah, so Andy, I mean, you're the one that didn't see it.
I'm definitely going to have to
something
check it
you
out.
wanna
Like as soon as I can, I'm going to probably go see it. I mean, I was hearing early reviews on it before any one of you guys had seen it. It's just that this summer has been hectic for everyone, and we've been catching up on all the mainstream movies, and these kind of movies kind of slip through the cracks of some people. And I'm glad that majority of us were able to see it, and I look forward to seeing it so I can talk about it just like you guys. I see that it's very passionate for you guys.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going to talk about another movie. Yash is going to throw one out, actually. He's going to throw a movie that he saw that he enjoyed.
I loved it.
Yash, you can take the floor.
Okay, the movie is Good Time.
So I told you about my brother, yeah? Something happened. I don't know exactly what. He's been arrested. He's being held at Rikers Island.
Love,
Oh my god, that's awful.
make me clean.
Just gotta get him out of there before something bad happens. He could get killed in there.
The pure always act from love.
If you don't know, this movie's about a guy named Connie. He's a New Yorker. He just recently got out of jail. He's trying to reconnect with his brother, and he's gonna do this in the most American way possible, is rob a bank. Yeah, it's a heist movie. And it's a heist movie that kicks off with a failure, and the movie is just Robert Pattinson's character, Connie, just catching up and trying to basically recoup from the damage that happened after the heist. His brother, who's played by one of the directors who directed this movie, I think Benny Sadaf. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, he plays a kind of autistic person.
Yeah. Well, he's mentally handicapped in some way. It doesn't really specify, but yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so he gets caught and he gets thrown in prison, and the movie is about Robert Pattinson trying to come up with the bail money to get him out before he gets too hurt. Yeah, that's the gist of it.
Yeah, who else saw it? Because I did.
I saw it.
You watched it
I haven't
as well?
checked it out, so me and Andy, I don't think have seen this one.
Okay.
What I really liked about this movie is that, especially for some reason, there was a lot of heist movies this year. But I thought this was the most realistic.
Like 4, I think. Yeah.
I think this is the most realistic way of looking at a heist, where a lot of times it's followed by a huge action scene, a whole chase sequence between the cops and the people and the robbers. But even though the cops are involved, but they're really sidelined. But it's like trying to recoup yourself after this failed mission, and it's just okay, I don't know what to do. Oh, I'm gonna try and help my brother. I'm gonna go here, and it's
he doesn't make a dime. It's just an intense movie. I just want to talk about the casting, and Robert Pattinson feels like he was cast off the streets of New York,
He does a
where
fantastic
these
job, yeah.
where these crackheads live, and
Wow.
doesn't it feel like that?
No,
though?
he is a chameleon in this.
It's
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things I'd be curious about because, like, I enjoy Robert Pattinson. A couple things I've seen him in, but everyone associates him with obviously with the Twilight stuff.
Right.
They did.
No, but in this one, I like if you hadn't seen Twilight or like I don't know, like
Cosmopolis.
Yeah, like I liked him in Cosmopolis, but this is his best.
Cosmopolis.
I don't care.
Okay, sorry.
Here's the interesting right. The official synopsis for this movie had the word Odyssey in it, and I'm like,
oh
my God, is that to a T? This is basically the Odyssey set in the streets
of 2017,
like poverty, streets, and crime.
That's
That is what this movie is,
Okay.
Which is also why people aren't going to like it. A lot of people will not because it is like
ugly.
a fever dream.
Okay.
But
especially with the music.
oh, absolutely! The whole thing just sort of flows together and it washes over
It's
you.
amazing.
I didn't like it as much as Yash did. I still enjoyed it. And essentially, what this is it is the story of him going like the Odyssey from one area to the next, and in each area there's like a set of characters that he interacts with, and then he moves on to the next area, and sometimes some of them will come with him, sometimes they won't. And ultimately,
they all represent like obstacles that he has to overcome or something. I'm not sure.
No,
to the contrary, I'd say what this movie is about is almost perspective, where he's a guy who he just constantly justifies his own actions, and he leaves just a trail of shit in his wake. Like he ruins so many lives along his way, but it's all in his mind justified to save his brother, who honestly it's his own fault that his brother's in prison in the first place. So it's a very interesting character study in that way.
Yeah, and one of the things I really love about this movie is just what I got out of after watching the movie. It's just I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like the scene, the amusement park scene comes to mind.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite section.
Yeah, it's crazy, and that scene said a lot about racism in our culture.
Yeah.
And yeah, like Connie, this crazy ex-prisoner is running away, and he goes to this amusement park to look for drugs and money because they're hidden somewhere in the amusement park, and he confronts the security guy who is black, and he ends up winning the scuffle. But when the cops come, the black security guard gets arrested, and so does this innocent black kid who's also just outside of the amusement park, and it just shows you like how like these cops just wander into a situation, look at this guy who looks like he just dyed his hair.
But again, also, Connie twists it.
Connie does twist it, but
he is a man who he understands the streets and he uses that sort of thing.
But to
his advantage.
If you were a cop,
absolutely, but like he manipulates the situation. And I think that's what's significant about it.
Yeah, okay.
It absolutely highlights the racism, but
Okay.
he's taking advantage
of that,
which makes it even grosser.
That sounds interesting
Yeah.
though. As thinking of a movie, like, is there more moments like that in the movie, or is that?
There's other moments.
Okay.
This whole movie is just filled with little things that you'll think about after the movie.
It's almost like little short stories that run into each other.
And they don't jump out at you. They're not
With
obvious.
that
You'll only realize them if you choose to think about it after the movie.
Okay.
I
guess you guys can give it a little bit of final thought, I guess, of your overall interpretation of the movie. I guess that you like whether or not you really liked it.
I loved it. I don't think there's more I could say.
I thought it was a really good, like someone said, a character study of this really gross person, and I think a lot of this movie is gross, not like dirty or just I don't know. It's a lot. I don't like using the word, but gritty version.
It's exploitative.
Yeah,
that's what I think it is.
But yeah, like he's not a good person. He doesn't come from a good place. So I kind of don't get the title of the movie.
That's what I'm not sure, honestly. I'm not sure, and I think what titles
maybe they used it ironically or like as a wink wink because not only as you're watching this movie you're like this is a gross situation and this is a gross person, but also the movie itself, they're not having a good time.
No one's having a good time.
I guess
you just call that.
But I guess if Connie's having a good time, it just makes it
ironic.
That much more scum.
It's ironic, like
No,
when
he's
a
not having
really
a good
big guy and
time,
they call him
he's picking
tiny.
He's not having a good time. He's picking up after all his mistakes, and he's like, "Okay, we gotta fix this." Like, so I guess the only way I could think of this title is either it's used ironically, or like maybe it's a good movie, so you had a good time watching a good movie. Like those are
I think it's probably the latter.
Yeah, those are the only two ways that I could think the title actually makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And Mike?
So yeah, no, I think everything's need to be said. How do you guys feel?
It sounds interesting.
You want to have a good time?
I thought Yash's points about like how there's topical things in there that like are interesting to think about after the movie is what's selling me the most. I kind of want to see what those things are. Otherwise, I don't know. It doesn't sound like something that I would go out to see right away, but it's something that I'll check out based on your guys' recommendation for sure because it sounds pretty good.
Also, the soundtrack. We didn't hit on that, but you should see this movie just for the soundtrack.
Okay.
It's great.
It feels
hypnotic.
It feels kind of weirdly diametrically opposed to Wind River, which is very like Wind River's a very simple, quiet, tense movie, and it sounds like this is like kind of in your face.
It is like an acid
weird.
trip at
It's
times.
not as simple as kind of complicated and weird for some reason.
They do take acid in the movie, though.
I don't know. What did you think, Andy?
I'd have to agree with you a little bit, but mostly I'm probably going to try my best to try to keep this as far at the end of the list as possible.
This feels like that thing that you would have on your DVR that you're like, okay, I could watch this, but there's another show that I really like that's on as well.
Right. It's probably going to get onto my list on Netflix, and then I probably won't watch it for a very long time. Anyone that knows me knows that that's not the type of movie that I would
And then
enjoy.
in like 10 years, you'll see that on a list, and you'll be like, I
remember when Yash was saying that. Yeah.
And you'll finally watch it and be like,
and the reason why is because I found myself during this whole talk wondering, well, where's the enjoyment of it?
That's a good question.
So that's and if I go to a movie, I want to see something that at the end I can be like, well, there's a lesson here that I'm supposed to learn, or
there's no lesson at the end of this.
I think there's a lesson for the viewer, but I don't know.
Is the lesson just to not be him?
This is not a movie for enjoyment, in my opinion.
This movie shouldn't be just about enjoyment.
No, absolutely. This is the equivalent of a novel that you study, and like this is one of those movies where I'm pretty sure the lighting in the different scenes actually correlates to different meaning. Like this is something you can analyze each scene and break it down, and there's like meaning in it. And I think it's worth it from that perspective, but yeah, for a good time, not really.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna throw one last thing to try to sell you on this movie. Do you like the show Cops?
No.
No? Never mind.
Alrighty then.
Well,
moving on. We have Mariana with her choice.
Yeah,
yes.
She's the only one who's seen this. Am I correct?
Yes, I believe none of us got a chance to check it out. I planned on checking it out today, and then time got away from me, and I wasn't able to check it.
You guys need to get your priorities straight, okay?
Okay.
Because it was a really good movie. Better time than a good time.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's a great time.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it.
Okay. So the movie I saw was Ingrid Goes West.
Oh my god, it's Ingrid Thorburn. I thought she was in an insane asylum.
Live in the sunshine, swim in the sea. # California.
Which stars Aubrey Plaza with side character as Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh.
Yes.
I love Elizabeth Olsen.
She's been...
Another one.
Yes. So this movie is a dark comedy, and it's quite different than any movie I can think of. I wouldn't say it's wholly original, because I have seen like this dark sense of humor, especially if you know Aubrey Plaza. She's really dry. She kind of just says things straightforward, and it's her delivery that makes things funny. But so I guess basic premise of this movie, it's Aubrey Plaza plays a social media obsessed girl named Ingrid to the point where she'll become obsessed with people who are Instagram famous who like respond to a comment. And then she's like, oh my god, this person's my best friend. I need to know everywhere that they've been. Like, I need to be there. Like, I need to know them. I need to be with them. And so, a lot of this movie is specifically Instagram, where she sees, like, she's obsessed with the fact that she needs to show pictures of herself looking like she's having a good time in order to get a social media following.
Sounds like real life.
Yeah. And so, like, I think this is very topical and it's a big commentary on social media. Modern, and the way that it takes a really, really dark turn, like
a really, really dark turn.
Like, I really don't want to say too much.
Because don't say too much.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna. This is just like the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much because I didn't watch any trailers.
Okay.
I just went in knowing it was Aubrey Plaza, Elizabeth Olsen. I heard good things about it. I didn't really hear anything else about it. So when I walked in, it was very different than what I thought. Like, I don't know. I kind of thought it would be like, ugh. Like, they're just going to be on their phones the whole movie and it's going to be like this dumb commentary. But it took a turn that I really liked. And at the beginning, you see how troubled Aubrey Plaza's character is.
So they give it to you right off the bat.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, that's all I really want to say. But if you guys have questions, like, I could answer.
Is it like a big budget Black Mirror episode?
That's what I was thinking the same thing. Like, the way I've seen parts of the trailer. Like, I don't think I've watched the full trailer because it doesn't stick in my mind.
I definitely.
But the way that you said it seems like it's this one thing.
I'm very excited.
I don't watch trailers.
Like I said, I haven't watched the trailer, so I don't know if they spoil anything. But I went into it blind, not expecting anything, and even not expecting much, I was very surprised.
Right. So yeah, it sounds like
but
it sounds like a big budget Black Mirror.
As for Black Mirror, because Black Mirror always takes like a concept and then turns it to the extreme, or
it sounds like it's Black Mirror with social media, basically.
Yeah, in a way that it's like how bad social media or technology can turn you.
Yes.
But in the fact that there are probably hundreds of people like this in the real world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how I'd say it's not like Black Mirror, because I could believe that.
Well, it sounds like it might be
like
less a commentary on the social media so much as what a already disturbed person.
Yeah, because
I think that's what Black Mirror is about.
No, but
I think that's Black Mirror about is at its core. Is that
but Black
give
Mirror tries to be about that.
Yeah.
But what it ends up saying is society's stupid.
Yes, society's bad in many ways, but yeah.
But like I said, she's already disturbed, so I don't think this is just like she's a disturbed person and social media like
amplifies
it. But I like Instagram famous is a term, like that's a thing where people will like take 100 pictures of themselves going out, and everyone that's around them is like, can we actually do things instead of stopping to take 100 pictures?
Right.
It's like they want it. It's like their idea of a good time is showing it to like. Is having the perfect
you actually have a good time unless people saw it.
I'm like, you can have a miserable time, and then you find a nice spot, you take a picture, post it on Instagram, and then be like, had a good day, and then that's your highlight, and then everyone sees that, and it's like, oh my god, I want her life, she looks so happy, or he, whatever. But in this case, it's a she, because it's Elizabeth Olsen, who's that Instagram famous personality. Okay. So, Elizabeth Olsen, she's not a celebrity, but she's Instagram famous in a way.
Yeah.
She's a public figure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's Aubrey Plaza lives in like a different state, and it ends up her
she
like
moves
west. She ends up going west. And,
you know what? That's why these movies.
And her Instagram account is Ingrid Goes West.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wait, why did they throw you off?
He can't.
Because I thought this was gonna. I thought that just by the title, I was gonna be like some like
road trip movie or something.
No, like I thought it was gonna be some down home country
Western thing,
like love story kind of like drama with some two
it's an adaptation of Journey to the West.
she was gonna go to like some square dancing place and
like come back from college.
Get work as an orange picker.
What about O'Shea Jackson Jr.?
Oh
yeah,
he plays. So when she goes west, he plays the landlord.
Okay.
And but I really liked his character. He's obsessed with Batman.
Oh.
Like to the point where it's like, okay, calm yourself.
Well, they're perfect for each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I liked his. I don't want to say how much more involved he gets.
Yeah.
Because again, I thought if you want a bit of his character, he's constantly vaping, and he's obsessed with Batman, so that's a good thing and a bad thing.
What's better, being obsessed with Batman or an Instagram model?
Or
Batman.
vaping all the time.
Or vaping.
Batman's always better.
Yeah, I was very interested about him because everything, because I've only ever really seen him in Straight Outta Compton, obviously, where he's playing his dad, and I was wondering, does he
No, this one he plays really different.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. I want to see if he had range. It's good to see that he has some range, and
I was kind of looking forward to seeing Aubrey Plaza. I just there's something about her. She has that factor that just pulls me in. I don't care how dumb the movie is. I like her in it.
You enjoyed her in Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates?
Yeah,
I enjoyed her in that as well.
What's that one where she's a zombie?
Life After Life.
Life After Life.
I just like her and what she does.
Yeah, I think this one she had the most range. Like I said, if you know Aubrey Plaza, you know her sense of humor. But I think in this, you see how she is with. Not only with her Instagram, but also trying to become friends with this Instagram celebrity. You can see how she would get into that crowd, and then there's moments of darkness, and it's yeah. I thought, yeah.
Josh.
So,
I don't want to ask you too much about this, because I want to, because
I'm
from the sounds of it,
I'm trying to keep things as vague as possible.
Yeah.
Well, just keep it to, do you want to see it?
Yeah,
do you want to see it?
Yeah?
I want to see it.
Honestly,
in theaters, you think? That's the question.
In theaters. I will see it this week.
I want to see. I'm kind of mad I didn't see it today, and I'm probably going to check it
out
tomorrow or on Friday.
Yeah. Want to make it a date?
Yeah, let's go check it out. Seriously, we should go see it. Yeah.
Fantastic.
All right. I think we might all go see it together, to be honest. It seems like a good movie.
Wow.
All right, Mikey, let's go.
Okay, I'm talking about a movie that I don't think any of us that saw it really enjoyed.
But it is something that came out.
But it's something that came out. I think it's worth talking about. That's Death Note.
The human whose name is written in this note shall die. Shall we begin? You're a death god? Yes.
Not to be fair, Yash didn't get
Death Note.
Yash only checked out the first 15-20 minutes of the
movie. He didn't even finish
he ejected. He pressed the eject button. He was gone.
So yeah, Death Note based on the anime. Based on the anime that's based on the manga, or just based on the manga. It's really not based on any of them because it's just a silly movie.
Very silly movie.
I was gonna say that. That's why I checked out. It just Light looked like such a goofy character.
For anyone who doesn't know the base concept, it is a high schooler gets a note from a death god that allows him to kill anyone who he wants if he writes the name down in it while picturing their face. In this version, the essential plot is he and a girl from school start doing this together as a sexy activity, killing criminals and such. And it gets out of hand, as you would imagine. And
the way that the people die, obviously, is because there's a death god associated with it.
A lot of good people die because of it. And of course, the other half being there is a detective, a genius detective, trying to figure out who is killing these people because he understands that
all these seemingly random deaths.
Well, to be fair, Light. Yeah, he's genetically bred to be a detective, but also in this version, Light does basically announce to the world that someone is doing it by basically calling himself a god before anyone figures out that these are connected.
Kira.
Yeah.
So Kira. So that's the base concept. I thought taking my love of that anime out of it, I thought it was just a pretty average, below average movie. It was just kind of there. It had a few moments that I liked. I thought Willem Dafoe's Ryuk was good, but not really. He's in 4 scenes, so it's not even that important. It's just a movie that exists.
You want to know, there was a point in the movie where I almost hit eject. Because I ended up watching it in the morning. I watched it, I woke up at 10 o'clock. I was like, oh, it's on Netflix, I'll check it out. Put it on and watching it. And the moment where I almost hit the eject button is when he's in the detention and he first sees Ryuk, and Nat Wolff's character just starts screaming like a
That was terrible.
It was like,
What is that?
it was like, what is happening?
That was strike one ending for me.
Strike one was when he started. Strike two was when he kept doing it for like 2
That was
minutes.
strike one and two.
Oh, Lord.
I felt like the tone that they were setting up before that moment, and then that moment happens. I was like, what is happening?
Who didn't see it? Was it Mariana?
No, I saw it.
No, it was Yash. Yash only watched the first
Yash
15
only
minutes. She
watched a
didn't see
bit.
anything else. Yeah.
Wow, we all saw it except for Yash. Okay.
And then the third strike was when he kills the first guy, and then he starts screaming again, and I'm like,
oh my god.
No.
Okay.
You didn't get
to defend it there.
Minutes. Yeah.
I did not hate it at that point. It did not throw me off until
Me neither.
I was
eh.
at that point. The time where I was starting to be like, nah, you shouldn't have went this way, is when they introduced the girl.
True. It's weird the way they
and I don't want to spoil it for
No.
anyone, but I just felt like it was throwing me off. It was kind of like there were so many different ways that you could have incorporated that, and you're focusing on the wrong thing.
Yeah, that's how I felt too.
Right. I think that's the biggest downfall to this movie is that I'm not the type of person who's like, oh, it wasn't like the book or it wasn't like its source material, but it's the fact that the anime/manga was about this smart teenager in high school who discovers he has the power to kill people, and then his slow psychological downfall, and eventually having a god complex, thinking, well, I have the power to do this. At first he's doing it because he thinks he's helping by killing criminals, but at this point it's like, oh, people are trying to stop me, I should kill those too.
And he starts justifying things.
Yeah, and then everything in his mind is justified. Whereas in this movie,
he never does those things.
Yeah,
no, but
he's a very different.
That was a twist, though.
I
felt the twist was that they made her.
They put more of that.
No,
but the way they did it still didn't work for me.
It didn't work. Yeah,
I think I'm fine with them changing, and obviously it's a long anime, so they can't do all of that. But I'm saying they didn't. I think they showed him killing people. I think they showed his first one, but then after that they did it in a montage, and that was the most important part because that's when he's slowly getting down.
Not just a montage of them killing people and then getting off on it and
Right.
having
And
sex
making out
with each
their
other
beds and
while
sex,
watching the people dying on the
Right.
TV, and they're just like loving it.
I want to go back and see what song was playing during that scene too. It was probably some kind of weird 80s soft rock
let's
song.
talk about the music because what happened?
Oh, but just quick thing is that what they did ended up focusing is like this teen angsty romance movie.
Yeah.
Yes,
and I'm
very
saying
much so.
it's one thing if you cut things out or if you obviously can't do everything, but the fact that you threw out all this like psychological thriller part that was like what was so interesting about the anime, and then you focus on this teen angst that no one wants.
And I think like Mariana touched on a very good point that the anime is very long.
It's like 20 episodes.
You
It's
can't
like
just
20
turn that into a
episodes.
movie.
You can't
so
turn
they
that
need
into
to
a
cut
movie.
it down. Yeah,
And they cut it
streamline
down, and the parts that they chose to cut it down, I felt they failed on the cut down.
Yeah.
Because even the detective,
Yeah.
L, yes.
his relationship with his handler,
Wasabi
did not come across. It wasn't there for me. There was no emotional investing in his part.
Yeah.
So when the thing happens to him that happens, I didn't care.
Well, here's the other thing that I didn't like is they established in this movie, this isn't an anime thing, they established in this movie that L is this detective bred from a young age to be a master detective. And he covers his face. He hides his name. He's emotionless, and yet,
in fact, the way they find out who's doing it is like he sacrifices a bunch of criminals to be like, okay, now I know where it's coming from. But then in public, and like he's willing to let these people die. He doesn't give a shit. Like,
and he was very emotional when.
But that's the thing. In public, he's like, "Oh, I'm secretive, but here's my best friend. He's my handler, and here's his name written out, and I'm emotional about him." And so I'm like, "Well, that doesn't make you a very good detective, does it? You're opening. You have this huge weakness."
Right.
Not just that, like I don't mind an emotionless character having a moment where they have emotions.
Absolutely.
I feel like this movie is a point where something happens and he gets super emotional. It's too much for a character.
He goes
that's supposed
from
to be
0
emotionless.
to like
he goes like 0 to like 1,000. Like
he starts.
He's angry. He's choking people, throwing people around rooms. It's like I would have preferred if they just had a scene where like they tell him what happened and you could see in his face like, oh my God,
this is the one person he cared about.
And he's sad, but he didn't have to go nuts. Like he went insane.
Right. No, I think
you want to talk about the music.
Well, the music just that it is so poorly placed.
Yeah,
the wrong times and the wrong music.
Like I think even with the visuals, they were setting up as really dark, and then everyone's like, "Oh, he's drab." And they start playing 80s pop music, which, especially there's one scene at a Ferris wheel where it's just like...
Yeah, it's the climax
it's the climax of the movie, and I snort... Like, I went... like...
Right.
I giggled a bit. Like, I'm like...
It was pretty cheesy.
It shocked me, the
It was
choice.
so cheesy. There's, like, slow-mo dance prom scenes.
Well, actually, I was still giving it a chance until the prom. And there was one scene in terms of the music wise. There was one scene where there was music playing at the place that Elle was, and then it transitioned into the prom.
Oh yeah.
And I felt like the choice of music to transition from the place that Elle was to the prom, they didn't match. So it was like the cadence was off.
Trying to mix a song that doesn't mix.
Right. And that they missed an amazing opportunity to have a good transition.
Yeah.
And as someone that went to school for editing, that just you know the things that throw me off the deep end, and that was the final straw. I was like, I'm really trying for you, and you're really making it hard.
I'll tell you the two things that kind of annoyed me about the movie. First of all, the entire conceit of what the Death Note is. It was like, it's too powerful.
Yeah.
Like, I understand
they
establish
the movie, but then, they really stretch them.
It's really stretched. It's like, okay, so you can, the Death Note, you write a person's name in the book, and it'll kill them. But you can also specify how they die. And you can control their life for 48 hours up until they die. So you can be like, oh, Michael Knudsen is going to write the single greatest play in the history of Broadway. He's going to get it produced within the next 48 hours, and then he's going to shoot himself in the head because he's racked with guilt because the play is exploitative of some people. Yeah. And I'm like, still, Michael can do that now? He's going to write a play and it's going to get on Broadway within 48 hours?
And how many people did that affect? So he's not only affecting Michael.
Well, exactly. Right. And that was where it started pushing me, because like I understand affecting certain things that actually kill the person, maybe like saying, something falls on him. Okay, that's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
But like when you're starting to talk like, he drops this and it lands here when he dies, I'm like, that's not really related to the death now, is it?
Right.
And like that part of the movie, I guess it's part of the mythology of it, but I just didn't buy it as a person watching a movie. I was like, this is kind of ridiculous. And I just thought that like Nat Wolff was awful. I
didn't mind
as a character that he's supposed to be trying to play. I thought there's nothing interesting about him as a.
Actually, I like the girl who played Mia. I like her in Leftovers, and I like her here. I just didn't like the character they gave her, but I think she's solid.
Yeah, maybe, but I hated the character.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And I really didn't care for any.
I'm trying to figure out if I want to watch this.
Yeah. Do you want to finish?
All right. Yeah.
Do you want to watch another 20 minutes?
I don't know, but so the anime is about a really intricate cat and mouse game.
Yeah.
Is this that?
No, not in the least.
All right. What is this?
Maybe early. There's a point where you're like, ooh, this could be.
Yeah.
So what is it?
Toying with each other.
No,
but then there's a point where they just both know everything, and then it just is.
It's just not.
It's very straightforward.
So it's just Light versus him.
I wouldn't call it Light versus Elle in this. It's more Light versus Mia over who gets to murder
Mia's
people.
a bigger part.
She's actually the villain.
Yeah,
she's the villain. Okay, that's kind of cool.
It's an interesting concept. I don't hate the concept, but the way
I hate the concept only because they present it as if that's like a twist, and I was like, guys, obviously she's evil. Like the whole movie, I'm watching.
Like
it.
she's really insane. Twisted.
She's a mean girl. She's a mean girl from the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Even the beginning told me that.
Yeah.
When she got beat up by her boyfriend, whoever that guy was, when he got punched and knocked out in the parking lot, and then she said, he just ran into a pole. She screwed him from the beginning. Yeah. And why would you try? It's kind of harkened my mind back to Atomic Blonde. Like, why was she believing that the guy that was trying to kill her the whole movie. Like, why was she continually like?
Think of it like this: the whole reason he brought Mia in, he told her about the Death Note was because he got the impression from her that she was sick and twisted enough to enjoy it. The line he says was like, "I think you'll like this." It's a notebook that kills people. What sick bastard would you think likes that?
He also wanted the booty.
Well, that too, absolutely.
Oh, yes.
But like, you know, a normal grounded woman, you know, you show her a notebook that kills people, that doesn't get you booty. Like that's attracting a very strange.
But every time she did something ridiculous and he was about to walk away from her, she'd just be like, "Oh yeah, but you might lose this booty." And he's like,
"Ooh." He was like,
"Can't lose the booty. You gotta get that back."
She's like, "I love you. Can't lose this booty." And he's like, "Yeah,
yeah,
basically."
I don't know.
Yeah. To sum up, I guess
I'm not watching it.
To talk about, I think just to talk about adapting something for a second.
Sure.
I think you have to change things to adapt.
Of course,
but that's okay.
Yeah. But I think what the mistake this makes is it changed the theme of the story. It changed the plot of the story. It changed the character motivations. It changed the characters themselves and who they are. So when you're starting
the way that they interact with
each
other. Like
at a certain point you've changed so much.
You've changed so much, it's not the same.
Yeah, and I think adapting, you have to change things, but you have to also know when not to change things to keep the best ideas.
And I think the key thing was they were still trying to hold on to what made Death Grips.
That's what they should have called it.
Death Grips.
But the thing is,
should have used that soundtrack.
Like, two of us watched the anime and two of us didn't.
Yeah,
and
me and Andy have not seen any.
Either way, you guys didn't like it.
So Matt and Andy didn't even watch the anime, so they have they don't care whether it's a faithful adaptation. Yeah. It's just an okay to bad movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're gonna change everything, then okay, make a good movie with the characters.
Exactly.
But they didn't even succeed on that part, and also when we started talking about this movie and you mentioned Light, there was a split second where I'm like, oh yeah, Light's in this. L's in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's not in that much.
No, he's in it, but he's
he's an afterthought.
They marginalize him a lot.
Is that he's not even same thing? Ryuk and L, which are huge parts in the anime. You kind of they're not the first things you think about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the most important part was L and Light's dynamic.
Yeah. And that's not
right.
there. And they don't replace it with something.
I'm not going to see this because I don't want to. Even if there's a possibility of Nat screaming, I don't want to hear that. that was torture enough.
That's fine. Okay, let's finish this off. Andy.
All right, so my movie is Logan Lucky.
The only guy who knows anything about blowing up real bank vaults is Joe Bang.
I am incarcerated. Yeah, we got a plan to get you out.
The Coca-Cola 600 is the biggest race of the year.
We need a computer whiz. I know everything there is to know about computers, okay? All the Twitters, I know them.
Yeah.
Just a fun fact. My girlfriend was asking me what movie I was going to see because I saw it last night. And I told her I was going to see Happy Hogan. I don't know why I said that.
Tony Stark's best friend. Happy Hogan, the movie.
But,
August release, that's bold by Marvel.
Exactly. So, anyway.
So, for this movie, by the way, everyone saw it except for me, Matt.
Oh.
So, everybody else, I think, has seen it.
All right.
I believe so.
So, I'm going to give a brief synopsis like everyone else has. So, it's about a West Virginian guy named Jimmy Logan. And he's basically down on his luck. He was a previous prom king, most popular guy, football player, all-star quarterback, destined for the NFL.
I'm assuming this is Channing Tatum's character,
yes.
Driver.
Oh, yeah.
From the description.
Yes. And he blows out his knee and becomes no one. The guy that was destined to be someone becomes a no one. And him and his one-armed brother, Clyde, they decide to have this a brilliant idea to rob the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
And at first, it's on a day where they think that they're just going to have a medium take that day because it's not going to be a big event. But because of unforeseen circumstances, they have to push it up to a more closer date.
It's the Coca-Cola 500.
And it's actually the Memorial Day, the Memorial Day race, which is the biggest race of the year. Now, they have to enlist some friends. So they enlist his sister. And they enlist a guy named Joe Bang. And he's actually incarcerated. So they have to also deal with the fact that they have to get him out of jail so that he can help them. So it's kind of like a fun caper. I found myself just playing this music in the background, like it
sounds as someone who hasn't actually seen the movie but sees trailers and stuff, it sounds like a very it sounds like a redneck Ocean's 11.
It's a good time.
It's a great time. Actually, one of my favorite movies of the year.
Oh, okay.
Not my favorite, but one of my favorite. It was charming.
It's very
to
charming.
me. It was very charming. It brought a certain element to me as a father that of just seeing the love for his child.
Even me as a non-father,
yeah,
I cried more than I thought I would.
You cried?
I cried.
He loved his kid.
What are there parts to cry about?
And here's the best part. I felt the tear coming into my eye.
Was it at the talent show?
Yeah, it was the talent show.
Oh.
And I'm welling up a little bit. I'm welling up, but I think, it's just gonna be like I'm just shedding a tear. It just keeps coming. Like it touched my heart. I was
it got me choked up a little bit. That the tear duct started to well up a little bit. I had to blink a couple times. I really enjoyed. Like I said, it's very charming. It's very
amusing,
loving for a family loving movie.
Yeah,
like you can see that their family is a tight knit unit. They might not be the most wealthy people. They might not be the smartest. They might not be the most well to do in the most affluent area. But what they do have is love of their family and love of themselves.
And I thought the title of the movie was it's a perfect way to describe that family, is because there's a thing called the Logan curse, which is obviously Channing Tatum's character blew out his knee, ruined his career.
The brother goes to Afghanistan
and loses part of his arm.
Yeah. It's not his arm, actually. It's his hand.
It's his hand and forearm.
It's his hand. And so it's the whole thing that it's like there's a Logan family curse, and then but it's they all love each other, and that they're all tight knit, and they get kind of lucky. And,
they finally get lucky.
It's interesting. Yeah, the whole heist. It's interesting because I think the whole thing is about luck and how it's almost what you make it. But at the same time, they are getting lucky a lot of times during the heist. The heist wouldn't have worked based on a few little things here and there, and they got lucky and they defied it because they believed in each other and they worked together. I think that's what it's about.
And to talk about the comedy. It's not like Kevin Hart comedy.
It's Coen Brothers.
It's Coen Brothers.
It's think of Burn After Reading or Big Lebowski.
It has a few of these really just blunt jokes that they don't even, it's a visual gag or something, and something clicks and you're like, that is a funny way of revealing that.
Just
beautifully
done.
the
arm.
Yeah.
Just from the trailer.
I'm kind of mad that you guys mentioned the arm. I was like, that could have been...
Just from the trailer, Joe Bang seemed like a very funny character to me. The Daniel Craig character.
Oh yeah.
He was. I thought he was one. That was the best I've seen Daniel Craig in a lot of things.
It's the most fun he's been having.
It's the most fun he's. And I think I almost felt myself sitting watching him play that character, saying, "This is why he signed for more Bond."
Yeah.
Because of this role. Because he found acting again.
Yeah.
He found it fun. You could tell he was happy. They even played some of the gag reels, I believe, at the end. Am I mistaken in that? But
I don't think so.
It's something in there. I could just feel
I think you're mistaking Hitman's Bodyguard.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was.
But
yeah, the comedy aspect of it, the family aspect of it. Everything was beautiful. I just really found myself loving every minute of it and eating it up every step of the way.
So here's a question that I have, I guess, as someone who hasn't seen the movie, but seen like the snippets in the trailers and stuff, obviously. No one in this movie is actually a redneck or a West Virginia, right? So, like, how did they get across that aspect of
Here's what I like
character?
so much about
like,
it.
Did it feel like it was part of that area?
The best way I describe this movie, and I think it's also the reason why a lot of people won't like it, is this movie moves at the pace of West Virginia. It is the most relaxed heist film ever.
Right.
And I think that's going to turn some
Say
people
that again.
off. But but I thought that was so honest, and I think in general, everyone in the movie is just kind of, it's got that West Virginia attitude where it's relaxed and they're friendly and they're sort of working together, and like it picks up speed during the race itself, but even then it's the slowest heist I've ever seen, and it works because it's just honest to like what these people are. And the other part about the fact that they're West Virginians in this film, that the way they write the characters and this heist, they have a very like, this is the way they would do a heist.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of like,
we don't
do it
take
yourself
more, we
elements.
don't do more than we need.
Yeah.
They're not trying to be trillionaires. They just want to live comfortably.
It's humble. It's a humble heist.
Humble.
And they do things in a way that is like, you know, you're not going to see George Clooney robbing in this way. They're using their homemade stuff.
Yeah.
But like, it works for them. Yeah, exactly.
And another point of it that I truly loved is that the heist was secondary.
Yeah.
It was kind of like Christopher Nolan's Batman. Batman was just a side character. Like, it was a movie that just so happened to be about a guy that was Batman. It wasn't a Batman movie. This is like guys about family, about love, about coming together for a common goal, about being a father, being there for their child, that just so happened to have a heist in it.
Mm.
Like, that's how I felt.
I felt exactly the same.
I didn't feel like the heist.
And that's why I think
the reason
the people who go in expecting a heist movie and demanding it and they don't budge, I think they're going to be disappointed.
Definitely.
But if you go in and you're like, what is this? And then you're like, oh, this is a family movie with heist in it.
Okay.
I think it's quite sweet.
Right.
So this movie, also looking at IMDb, has a lot of actors that I like. Obviously, Daniel Craig, Channing Tatum, Adam Driver,
Riley Keough?
I don't know how to say her last name, but I've seen her a bunch of other stuff, and I like her as well.
Who's that, Melly?
Yeah.
Is that her sister?
She plays her sister, I think. Yeah.
I liked her.
Katie
This is the
Holmes
first
is
thing
in there
I've seen her
too.
in, and she really impressed me.
I usually don't like Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes is in there too, but like it's a recognizable name.
The guy from The Office.
Pam's
ex.
and the one that's Seth MacFarlane.
Seth MacFarlane. And Winter Soldier.
Oh,
yeah.
Winter Soldier's in it.
Here's a comment on that. This movie is full of characters that you see in one or two scenes, and then it just...
Hilary Duff. I mean, Hilary Swank.
Hilary Duff.
Wow, it's like everyone's in this movie.
Yeah,
okay, that's my only gripe about the movie.
Yeah,
going back on that.
Before you get into that, though, I just want to ask, like, there's a lot of actors that I like in this movie. Do they all get serviced appropriately, and do they all get a moment?
Well, that's what he's about to say.
No. So
they don't all get a moment.
But I believe there's a reason for that.
I think so too.
Okay, so I feel like Hilary Swank's character, who plays an FBI agent that's hired to investigate the heist.
Yeah.
It feels like they're shoehorned in at the end, because really and truly, the movie has pretty much told you they're not going to get caught. That this movie has nothing to do with the heist. So their involvement has nothing to do with the movie. So you're already not invested in them trying to catch them.
Yeah.
If they had been introduced from this, like let's say the heist happened in the first half an hour of the movie, and that's when Hilary Swank was introduced.
The investigation.
It had nothing to do with the investigation. It had nothing to do with even the heist.
She was introduced in maybe the last 10 to 15 minutes,
Right.
and it was like it really shifted the entire movie, because it's like the movie wasn't about like the cops trying to find them, and I thought her character was completely different, which is understandable. She comes from a different city, but like she's kind of monotone, and she's just like she's like, we're gonna find them no matter how good they are. Like
I think
they did a crime,
it's served up for comedy.
It's served up for a change in levels.
That's what I love
but
about.
They introduced her at the end, and it just felt it felt tonally different,
Exactly.
and it didn't fit.
That's what I love about Steven Soderbergh and the way he did this movie is he took this dramatic heist concept and he didn't make it a drama. He made it like just a piece, like a study of West Virginian family where, yeah, it's just really nice. He comes at it from like a different angle, which I really appreciate, and I'm glad he's directing.
Yeah, I loved it, and I think it does. Like, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm the only one that had this feeling, is Hilary Swank her character was only introduced to set up the second one.
Here's the thing.
Sequel.
Listen,
I
think
there has to be.
Here's the thing.
Never
I saw that and I thought, is this something that they could use to set up a sequel? Yes. Was it specifically in there to set up a sequel? No.
You don't believe so?
I believe it is more a thematic thing to do with the luck of them, where it's saying, okay, maybe luck's run out because they've had all these lucky breaks throughout the movie. And I think it's just that little thing at the end because it's about this sort of luck and what is luck. And here's a little element that isn't quite gone yet. See, that's what I feel like because it's called Logan Lucky, and I think that's for a reason because
I think in the synopsis of the movie it talks about how they're trying to break a family curse or something like.
Yeah,
we talked about that before. Yeah, I don't know. Watch that last scene again.
I think they could absolutely could use it to set up a sequel. But
how many 4 Oceans?
I don't know if that's the point.
Remember,
I don't know.
There's a prequel coming.
Yeah,
it's called Ocean's 8.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that.
You think it's just for sequel purposes?
Yeah.
I think it was a thematic.
Just the what she was wearing.
I think they could use it to spin it off.
I didn't even think about them making a sequel. Like I just thought, they're leaving it open.
It was too complete of a movie.
Yeah,
right.
You know, for
all
me
right,
to think, this was a sequel.
Let's go around the room quick, just like final summation of your thoughts, maybe. Sorry, Yash.
Yeah, I love this movie. I don't know. You guys have said pretty much all there is to say. I didn't really talk that much during this movie, but yeah, I would definitely recommend you watch it as soon as you can.
Right.
Okay.
I think this falls like right in my comedy alley. Okay. Whereas I'm very picky with my comedies, and like Michael mentioned, it reminded him of Coen Brothers, which is like my favorite type of comedy. Big Lebowski, Burn After Reading, and I thought this was written by a different writer who I can't think of her name, but. So I thought the comedy worked for me, and I think I liked all the characters and their interactions with each other and the whole family values and their relationship. I really liked the acting. I didn't think that any of them could pull off a country accent and me not like noticing. It's Channing Tatum with a country accent.
I think the way that Daniel Craig
Daniel Craig is British. I just didn't even think of it like watching the movie. I'm just like, it's
right. The reason why I think it works is because none of them are. So when you have all the people faking it, you almost. Like if they
it's true. It's like when you put an American in a movie with a bunch of Brits and he's doing a British accent.
Right.
Like, okay. It's not
because it throws you off because you can hear the real one and the fake one. It would be like if you cast all American actors and told them to all be Jamaican. Yeah, people would say that sounds like a Jamaican. But they don't sound anything like it.
Okay.
Final thoughts from me. I really enjoyed it. I don't think I liked it as much as Andy or Yash, but I really liked it. It just would. I wouldn't like slip the word love in there. I think that's reserved for other movies.
Cry.
It definitely make you cry. It touched me. Like I really enjoyed it. I loved its pacing.
You said you didn't throw in the word love.
I didn't love the movie as a whole. That's what I'm saying.
I think I cried for Wind River, but not this movie.
Wind River just made me sad.
Yeah.
All right, my final thoughts are just like I said. I probably agree with Yash on this one. I really, really liked it. I really, really liked it. Is it in my top 10 of the year? That's still yet to be seen. But just the family aspect of it. I could care less about the heist. The heist was was a little bit of comic relief for me, and it was but the family piece of it, the down home feel, the charmingness of it, the way it touched me. I could feel the tears welling up with the love that he had for his daughter, with the love that he had for his family, and just their camaraderie. They came together, and it was just it was just perfect, like the way they did that. And for that reason only, I say that's enough for you to see it.
Yeah. And we didn't mention it. There's also a lot of good stuff in the prison. I don't think we should get into it. But that prison section also had, like, every sort of section has some really good beats in it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We don't call the cops here. We don't have any problems.
Okay, like, based on what you guys are saying, like, it sounds like something I definitely need to see. Like, it sounds like a fun movie. It sounds like something that I'd enjoy. I might have to do a double feature with this and Ingrid Goes West, because you got me kind of excited to see both these movies.
Very different type of comedies.
Sure, but I'm kind of excited about seeing both of them now, based on the discussion that we've had. And yeah, I'm definitely going to go check it out pretty soon. All right, so that's the August movie roundup. We all told you what movies that we like. We had a little bit of discussion about different groups of movies. So, it's time to sign off. I'm Matt.
I'm Yash.
Mariana.
Still Michael.
Andy.
And join us next time. I think we're going to do a little bit of a summer retrospective of some of our favorite movies. Until then, stay classy.